Hopefully you're going to be thanking me because Black Friday deals have come early for CityCast Chicago listeners. The auditorium is giving you, yes, you, the person listening right now, pay attention. They want to give you early access to their annual Black Friday ticket sale. All you got to do is use code CityCast to get 25% off tickets to shows like Home for the Holidays with Sleeping at Last, Drumline Live, Arrival from Sweden, the music of ABBA, and more. This is a limited time offer while supplies last, my friends, now through November 30th. Visit auditoriumtheater.org and use code CityCast for 25% off select tickets. I've been to no less than 15 weddings in my life, and one constant is every single person wants it to be one of the most special days of their life. And if you want to enjoy it without feeling like you're managing a whole event team, let Simply Elope do it for you. Simply Elope has helped over 14,000 couples, and no two weddings are ever alike. Your dedicated planner takes care of every detail, so whether you want a snowy mountaintop or a sandy beach at sunset, they'll handle the hard stuff. All you got to do is show up and say, I do. Start your big day at simplyelope.com. Today on CityCast Chicago, as I prepare for my favorite meal of the year next week with my friends and family, I'm already thinking about some of the best meals we've had across Chicago over the last 11 months, plus all the new places I couldn't get a reservation for and the spots that closed and broke our hearts. Here's a quick snapshot of Chicago's restaurant scene in 2025. It's Wednesday, November 19th. I'm Jacoby Cochran, and this is what Chicago's talking about. Today's holiday guide is from the Chicago Symphony Orchestra presenting Merry Merry Chicago, Symphony Center's annual holiday extravaganza filled with familiar carols and festive favorites. We've got the Infatuations' Adrienne Kane back in the building with us. Adrienne, welcome back to the podcast.
Hello, thank you for having me. So excited to be back.
We are talking all things new restaurants, dining trends, in and around the city. But I have to ask, I know we still got a month and a half to go, but what was the best meal you have had thus far in 2025 and why?
Oh my goodness. Okay, well, you have to understand, the best meal does not necessarily mean the best restaurant, and we also encapsulate the best time. But I would say I had an incredible meal at Creepy's. It is one of our BNRs. It's in the West Loop. And it was just a really great time. The vibes were good, fun food. It was really, really great.
What was your favorite thing?
My favorite thing was this strawberry meringue dessert. The meringues there are incredible. The desserts there are incredible. And I don't know if you know this about me, Jacoby, but I have a raging sweet tooth. So, I just really, really loved that dessert. It was a meringue cake and the strawberry sherbet, and it had this like buttermilkness to it, very tart, very sweet, but also very light.
We sat down with you and the homie John earlier this year to kind of talk about dining trends for 2025, what you were expecting. I want to know, how did those hold up over what you experienced this year, and what are, just overall some of the biggest things you noticed across Chicago scene?
I mean, some things really did hold up. One of the very Chicago specific trends that we had seen was just this plethora of steakhouses that had opened up, and that trend has continued. I think since we last spoke, two of them have opened up, Trino and Adelina Prime, both in the West Loop. So that still continuing on. Another trend that I can see that's been going on in 2025, and I foresee it continuing to happen in 2026, is these sort of suburban commuters, restaurants that are based in the suburbs that are deciding to open up in the city.
A smaller version or a spinoff, or is it just like a second or third location?
Second location, where they started out up there and they're moving in. And then I don't know if they're going to keep their original location, but I've seen that with Sophia Steak, which opened up in River North, and then Kama, an Indian restaurant that's opened up in the West Loop. And there's a few others that are on the horizon. So that's something that's also been happening, which I always find a little interesting. It's we're going to open in Glenview, and then we're going to move into the West Loop. Interesting. Interesting pipeline to me.
Speaking of some new spots that opened this year, what were your favorite new restaurants that opened up in 2025?
Oh, okay. Well, get your pen and paper out, Jacoby, because no, a lot of these are actually on our best new restaurants list. First of all, I have to shout out Pizza Michi. I know it's tavern style pizza. It's so good. It's got this classic old school feel.
I've been a couple of times.
Oh, it is just, I just love that restaurant. And it's like sort of, a big part of this Westtown pizza boom that's going on. I don't know if you've noticed how many pizza restaurants are opening in Westtown and just restaurants in general that are opening in Westtown, but Pizza Michi is one of my faves. Another one that I don't know if you've had a chance to go to, it's a little unassuming, but it's Cerdito Muerta. It's a like Mexican tavern in Pilsen that has a short menu of mainly like tacos and nachos. It is a really, really cool vibe. It's a really good spot. The duck nachos are excellent. Love that. Another one that I think is sort of like a little under the radar, not from a vibe perspective, but Mr. Tiger. I don't know if you've gone to that Korean restaurant that actually is also in Westtown, and it's really fun. It reminds me a little bit of Creepy's in the sense that it's like just very busy and it's just has such a good vibe. And the food is also really good. I'm all about vibes this year. You know what I mean? Like I want good food, but I also just want to have a good time. So all of my personal favorite spots are places where I'm eating good and having fun. And those places hit that mark.
I was going to say, as we were talking through these last few questions, you've kind of mentioned in one way or another that it's so much about the food, but like if you are going to spend your money going out, meeting up with the people you love or colleagues or new friends, that you want a place that is both good food, good drinks, but also the atmosphere is good. Like when you're thinking about sort of some of the new spots that have opened in 2025, places that have revamped some of the different experiences you had, is that something that you think people are thinking more and more about? Like, I don't know, a few years ago, we were having this conversation. It was about people were hoping their restaurant could be Instagrammable, but now it's less about can you post it, but when you're posting, you're really just talking about the experience and the vibe that you had that evening.
Yeah, no, I really do. I think that people want to have a good time. We had a lot of really great restaurants that weren't particularly like vibe focused this year. Conan comes to mind, the Filipino restaurant out in Ravenswood that has really great masubi and really great, Filipino Hawaiian restaurant, great masubi, great this ube banana pudding. There's really great food, but you go in there and you just like grab your bite and you walk out. That's really great, but I also think that when I'm talking about my favorite meals, it really is impacted by what the experience was like. And I think you've nailed it with when you walk into a new restaurant these days, I feel like, and this is anecdotal based on just going to hundreds of restaurants a year, there's less focus on the like, as you said, Instagrammable plant wall and neon signage, and more focused on the sound system and the lighting, which has nothing to do with capturing it for social media and everything to do with how it feels to be sitting in the space and being with your friends.
It definitely feels like I'm hearing, I won't say less playlists, but I feel like I'm hearing more curated playlists. Obviously, the vinyl bar is popping up more and more in and around the city. I've been to a few from Bridgeport to Avondale over the last couple of months. What are some other things you're noticing kind of taking root in the city this year?
I would say we're still seeing a lot of tasting menus, but I would say we're also seeing more like a la carte available versions of tasting menus. I think that might be a trend that's going to be happening where it's like almost what you would consider accessible luxury, where people would rather spend too much money on like a slider than spending a lot of money on a tasting menu that might at the end of the day be a better value, but is just a lot of money. Do you know what I'm saying?
100%.
So it's like going to a place like the Alston, for example, and spending like an obscene amount of money on a pretzel caviar concoction. But that's still less money at the end of the day than dropping, $1,000 at Oriole, right? So you get that like little taste of luxury.
Of the new restaurants on your list, which one maybe surprised you the most?
I would say Il Carciofo. Il Carciofo surprised me, and I'll tell you why. Because have you eaten there yet? I feel like you
I
might have.
have not.
Okay, no.
I appreciate the high acclaim you hold me in. I've presented myself as one who could keep up, but I mean, we're I don't know. We about 10 conversations in at this point, Adrienne. It feels like I've finally run out of places to be like, I'm sorry, I'm not running the same race as you all. We're not.
You know, I've learned never to count you out. So Il Carciofo is. The reason it surprised me is on the surface, it is this gigantic, size of like an airport, like, I don't know, concourse, like restaurant in the West Loop, high ceilings. You kind of walk in, it's just got this like cavernous feel. You can just feel the groups ready to come in, and it feels, the restaurant design is like really nice, but it feels, not to knock it, but like a little corporate, it feels a little like manufactured, but the food is so homey and comforting. It's like Roman cuisine. So you're getting a lot of those like really simple ingredient pastas. You're getting these like really delicious, well-balanced paninis. And so you kind of like, you walk in and it's almost this sort of disparity between like the space you're in and the comforting food that you're eating. And like they kind of equalize each other out. And it's just like, I just really love that restaurant. And I need to go online and see if they've started doing takeout and delivery, because I desperately want their mortadella panini to be available for me to eat on my couch.
Which restaurant have you found yourself recommending the most to people?
Oh, that's, again, Pizza Amici, of course, just because I feel like everyone likes tavern style. And I think that this is tavern style that stands out. I've also been really recommending Rendang Republic. I think that's sort of a sleeper hit. I don't know if you've been there yet, but it's got Indonesian food up in Wrigleyville. Delicious. They have a delicious hot dog. It's like a chicken sausage dog with a sambal aioli that I think is really tasty, and they're open for lunch. So those are two places that I've been recommending. Another one is Nadu. It's an Indian restaurant in Lincoln Park that has a lot of like cuisines from different regions of India. That's their specialty. And Chicago doesn't have a lot of South Indian options, and they do, which I think is really noteworthy. John, my colleague, he is in love with their crab dish, which, full disclosure, I haven't had the crab dish yet, but I have had their dosi, and their dosi is really good. So I've been recommending Nadu for like a fun night, or I should say more elevated night out, with some really delicious food that you can't find in a lot of restaurants here in Chicago.
This time of year is about tradition for people, and you can make Symphony Center a part of yours. From radiant choral harmonies to unforgettable orchestral moments, Symphony Center helps bring your traditions to life. You can experience the pure magic of Chanticleer's holiday concert, spanning ethereal chant to spirited gospel, or partake in familiar carols and festive favorites at Merry Merry Chicago, Symphony Center's annual holiday extravaganza, and revel in the timeless artistry of the Chicago Symphony Orchestra with performances that capture the wonder of the season. Discover the joy in every note, find your perfect holiday program, and get your tickets today at cso.org/holidays. The holiday season is in full swing, and one of my favorite ways to celebrate low-key is rolling by Millennium Park. You know, when it's all extra pretty, decked out in the lights. And a perfect time to stop by is Chicago's 112th annual Christmas tree lighting ceremony on November 21st. Maybe you want to meet up with your friends, bring your family outside. Maybe you got some people in town early for Thanksgiving. Go and kick it with your fellow Chicagoans for a night of sparkling lights, holiday cheer, and make some memories with one of the biggest trees this side of the Mississippi. And if you can't wait that long, kick off the season early, starting Friday at 10 a.m. at the McCormick Tribune Ice Skating Rink, and then head over to Millennium Park Holiday Market at noon. The market runs all weekend, and you can find great gifts for everybody in your life and soak in the live entertainment all in a nice festive winter wonderland. And hey, I heard that the Allstate man gonna be out there signing autographs. Nah, I'm messing around. The Enchanted Market experience is made possible with the support of Allstate. Don't miss out. Embrace the holidays at Millennium Park. For more info, visit chicago.gov/holidays. You already know what time of year it is. Toy Soldiers, Sugar Plums, and a Rat King. The Joffrey Ballet's The Nutcracker is making its way back from December 5th through the 28th at Lyric Opera House. Joffrey's Nutcracker is one of Chicago's most beloved holiday traditions. Join Marie and her Nutcracker Prince on a fantastical adventure in Tony Award-winning Christopher Wheeldon's kaleidoscope reimagining set amidst the spectacle of the 1893 Chicago World's Fair. Marie awakes one Christmas Eve to be swept away by a flurry of snowflakes to the dreamlike fairgrounds of the world's Columbian Exposition, and she embarks on a magical adventure you'll never forget. Seriously, the Trib calls it unforgettable. Tickets for the Nutcracker are on sale now at joffrey.org. You know, we've talked about a lot of new restaurants. Were there any closings this year that kind of particularly, stung for you?
There are so many that have broken my heart this year, to be honest. I mean, every year it's like really sad. I kind of wish we could do an in memoriam piece at the end of the year if that weren't too damn depressing. But a few that made me sad. One is Heritage Restaurant and Caviar Bar in Humboldt Park. It was just I just really liked that place, Eastern European food. It was definitely what I would consider, and I never use this phrase, like a bit of a hidden gem because a lot of people didn't know about it. But it had, really great pelmeni and I would say like accessible caviar and like vodka. And it was just kind of just a really good place. And it was also one of the first spots that like we covered and were sort of first on the scene to like write a review about. So like it has like a soft spot in my heart, just to like kind of see that life cycle of it opening and then it closing. I was also sad to see the end of an era with the Violet Hour closing. One of like Wicker Park's like stalwart icons leave. Like it's just like kind of sad that passed off the scene. And then I was really sad about SKY closing, but then they reopened and are now they reemerged better than ever. So like that grief was short-lived. Another place that, I was sad to say goodbye to was the Delta. That was another one in Wicker Park. I really, really loved the Delta when it first opened, and it had some some turnovers in the kitchen and with the menu, but like, again, that's another place that I was just like, end of an era. Oh, and 90 Miles Cuban Cafe. Jacoby, you're bumming me out.
These last few that you've named are all places that I went to within months of them closing. Violet Hour, the Delta, and 90 Miles. Like I literally started doing a pottery class around the corner from 90 Miles Cuban Cafe. And one of the reasons was like, I'm going to be able to go over there after class and stuff. And it was...
Well, first, now they're going to stop letting you go into their restaurants because...
I'm bad looking this motherfucker.
You know what? You don't go to any of the places I mentioned that are new. No, I'm just teasing.
There was a few sort of older spots that closed this year. Gale Street Inn at Jefferson Park.
Oh, with the ribs.
Mm-hmm. After 60 plus years, yep. Oak Mill Bakery after 26 years in Garfield Ridge. One other closing that I just got word of not too long ago was Land Chicago Pizza in Woodlawn. They just opened last year, maybe a little over a year ago in West Woodlawn. And I loved seeing their pizzas on my timeline. I got some. It was good. They said they'll keep their catering business going. But yeah, that was another closing that's tough. But one spot that you mentioned that did end up making y'all list and was part of that revamp, and I haven't been able to get up there. SKY, I went to their Pilsen location no less than 5-6 times. Them cornbread Madelines, the short rib, like that was my go-to. And it was right next to Talia Hall. And it's that Punch House?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, Punch House. And so I would go there all the time, but I haven't made it up to their Lincoln Park location. It made it on the best new restaurants, even as it's a place people know, but was relocating. Why? What about this new spot made it best new restaurant worthy?
Quite frankly, the food is still great. It's still doing like it's food that's hard to define, but still exceptional, as you know. I'm so glad that they brought those Madeleines with them. I'm so glad that the SKY fried chicken is back. The desserts have always been great. And like the fancy new space did not lose the charm of the previous location, which I used to describe as a sexy basement. And now we're sort of describing it as like a sexy bunker. It actually was on our best new restaurants list of 2018, the Pilsen location. So I was kind of happy to run it back and see that they're still excelling, but now in a space that's a little bit more exciting.
Overall, how would you describe, the health and feeling of Chicago's dining scene overall 2025?
I would say, I don't know if we ever left, but I feel like we're back. You know what I mean? I'm seeing a lot of variety, got Lao cuisine, which is not easy to find in this city. We've got that Indonesian restaurant. We've got Kanen, we've got like this really nice, we've got like regional Indian foods that are now appearing. So I would feel like we're having a lot more like, diversity and variety, and not just in the cuisines, but also in the styles of restaurants. Like I said, we have grab and go with Kanen, but then we have these like really more fancy sit down spots that we like. We have vibier places. So I feel like it was a really well-rounded showing this year for Chicago.
Looking forward to 2026, what kind of dining trend predictions do you got for me?
All right, let's see. 2020. Well, one thing I think is just started here and I think is going to continue. I don't know if you've noticed that that martinis are getting really weird with their
I have not.
You didn't know? You didn't know when you woke up this morning the martinis are getting weird? Martinis garnishes are, remember the Bloody Mary situation?
I was going to say, I remember when Bloody Mary started putting chicken tenders on them motherfuckers and French toast.
Right.
And ice cream bars on them. Like, I remember that.
Okay, well, you will be unsettled to know that is also happening with martinis. Martinis are getting like savory and the garnishes are getting a little extreme. Adelina, the regular Adelina, has like a Parmesan-tini where it's infused with cheese and comes with a Parmesan crisp. And then, but I think the Crime Against Humanity, which full disclosure, I haven't had it yet, so maybe it's delicious, but just conceptually, I'm like, oh no, is Gus's Sip and Dip, that cocktail bar in River North, has this breakfast martini, which is garnished with like buttered like honey toast. And I don't know. So, and I know that that's happening in some other cities, and I just think it's going to continue with Chicago. And since we're Chicago, God only knows what unholy combinations we're going to put in our martinis. And then this is a little bit different, but one thing that I also think that has not hit Chicago yet, but please watch this space because I think it will, is some of the like GLP-1 like health and wellness sort of like Ozempic drugs are starting to really impact how people are relating to food and dining out culture. I know that I have gone out to some group dinners where the ordering math was definitely a little different because some people there were not able to eat much because they're on Ozempic, which I know sounds like very clinical, but it's true. It's actually happening. And in some other cities, restaurants are actually offering GLP-1 friendly menu options just to like address that stuff. That hasn't happened in Chicago yet. I don't know if it will. I think it might just because this is becoming pretty common. So keep an eye out for like GLP-1 friendly menu options in Chicago for 2026. And I also think like looking at 2026, I do think we're going to continue to see this sort of, as I was talking about before, that sort of accessible luxury. I think we're going to start to see more like singular expensive options, meaning like overpriced, depending on, your perspective, like overpriced pizza, because people would rather spend their money treating themselves to something like that because maybe they can't go on that big vacation, so we're willing to spend like a smaller amount on like an accessible luxury because some of the other things are just a little daunting right now.
Do you think that this is a trend that you'll see where even some more accessible restaurants start adding just that one thing to the menu,
Yep.
or more restaurants built around this entirely?
No, I think it's going to be a course correction for places that exist now. I think they're gonna, and I think too.
More seafood
Again,
towers and shit.
more caviar on pretz. Yes, Jacob. More seafood towers in shit. Exactly. More caviar on stuff that caviar should not be served next to. Because I do think there's like an element of social media to that as well. You know what I mean? I think that those things can also be like really easy for someone to Instagram or put on TikTok. So I also think that it's a very appealing way for restaurants to kind of serve their client bases.
I kind of got 3 trend related questions that I want to ask. They're kind of connected but separate. One, I mean, you and I have been having these conversations, I feel like 2-3 years now. And one thing that has always played a role is social media. You know, have we seen any plateauing in terms of the rise of the Instagrammable spot or people catering to influencers and content creators? Or is that still pretty much top of mind for new restaurateurs?
I do think that restaurants, because a lot of the aesthetics, I think translated better on Instagram. And now that things have become more TikTok-y, I do think we're losing some of that, like what you would consider like Instagram aesthetic, you know, like we mentioned the plant walls and the pink neon signs. I think that's become passe. So I don't know if like from a design standpoint, restaurants are still catering to that, but I do think they are catering to like video, what we would consider like a moment, right? Like a tableside activity. I think that is still going strong. I think it's going to continue.
If I see another Dover
soul
video, Jesus Christ. This is how you fillet the Dover sole at the table.
Oh my God,
I'm not gonna lie.
right.
And I had it at the Ralph Lauren restaurant.
Oh.
I had them do it there. I was like, okay, it's been like, did they just let anybody do this, brother? You kind of fucking this up.
Well, and it's also like, 20 minutes later, it's like, delicious. It's like cold and, that's really funny. I know. I could not, the performance anxiety I would have, I could never sit there like next to someone for 15 minutes deboning their whatever. But yes, exactly.
Yeah, but it's a lot of table size Caesar salads. Like obviously you had guac, but I'm seeing a lot more Caesar salads, a lot of people pouring sauce on things. Like, yeah.
That's exactly it. And I think a lot of that has a lot to do with the social media of it all.
What do you want to see more of in 2026? Like, I want to see more of these collaborations, like these supper club collaborations, these summer dining clubs, these pop-ups that are taking place in
like that
more traditional. I'm not gonna lie, I can't pull up to all of them because they be overrun with people. But I am loving some of these collaborations. It feels like, again, I don't know if it's recent or trendy, but it feels like the fashion world is embracing this in a lot of ways, and the dining world is embracing this in a lot of ways, this juxtaposition.
No, I think that's actually a really exciting thing that I agree. And maybe if there is more of it, maybe it won't feel so competitive as far as like being able to try these things. I'm thinking about the I think they called it Wiener Wars that was happening over the summer, where they had like really great restaurants like coming together. And I also even like some of the like cross-functional collabs. Like you mentioned fashion in general, but I'm also thinking of like Drip Collective, right? Doing stuff with like music. And I like seeing my favorite things come together. And I do want to see more of that next year. And then selfishly, I'm just putting this out into the universe. Can we get a dessert only tasting menu? Can someone there was like one briefly Valhalla was doing it, but like where I want to go and I want to order 6 to 12 dessert courses. Give me that universe. I'm just putting it out there. 2026. Hear my pleas. Someone put that out there. I will keep you in business.
Like, mix it up. I want some savory stuff on here too. Like, I'm here for the sugar rush, but like mix it up a little.
Mix it up. Yeah, I like that.
Adrienne Kane with The Infatuation. It is always a good time when you stop by City Cash Chicago. We appreciate you.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. I love chatting.
Before we get out of here, I just want to give a huge shout out to Samantha Nelson over at the Trib, who has put out 35 great spots for delicious pies and desserts this holiday season. Also 70 Chicago restaurants offering dine-in and takeout on Thanksgiving. I'm going to drop links in the show notes. Oh, one more thing. Some good news. I know we missed it yesterday, but I got y'all. Shout out to Inglewood's own Heavy Crowns and his new exhibit, You Can Grow Here, debuting this Sunday at Host Cocktails and running into next year in celebration of Trench Baby Turned Farmer, his latest project. I also got a link for that. Don't forget, you can support the show and get great perks by becoming a CityCast Chicago neighbor at membership.citycast.fm. Maybe, get a membership to somebody in your life for Christmas or Hanukkah or Kwanzaa or early Thanksgiving gift or a birthday or I was thinking about you, for one of them things. I'll talk to you bright and early tomorrow. Peace. Don't you love how I could just turn it on like that? Like I just be talking regular, then all of a sudden it's like, welcome back to the podcast.
I know.
Guess what? CityCast has some news. I'm Sean McPherson, the host of CityCast Twin Cities.
And I'm Jane C. Hu, and I'm the host of CityCast Seattle. Hey, if you have a friend in one of our cities, can you text them for us?
Yeah, something, simple like, hey, how's that rash doing? And do you listen to podcasts? Because I have one you're definitely going to like. After that, tell them that CityCast has helped you become more informed, more involved, and more connected to your amazing city.
We're going to help that person you know in Seattle who's been trying to make friends.
And we're also going to do that for that guy you only kind of knew in college who moved back to the Twin Cities after graduation.
Don't we all have that guy?
Yeah, and usually that guy is named Todd.
So did you text them yet?
Jane, let's just wait a minute. We don't want to rush anybody. We'll do a little small talk. How's everything going in Seattle?
Beautiful, beautiful. Fall leaves popping. How about Twin Cities?
Today, beautiful and sunshiny in St. Paul. Okay, Jane, I bet they are done texting by now, and I just want to remind them, hey, you, please tell that friend to subscribe to CityCast Twin Cities or Seattle, wherever you get your podcasts.
Or if you don't want to text them and you're really just on Instagram sending them DMs all the time with funny videos, send them a DM of our latest videos. You can find us at CityCast Twin Cities or CityCast Seattle on Instagram. Thanks.